So, my dear Virgo, you're getting a second time the Sun in Capricorn, which means that Capricorn is really wanting to tell you something, right? Through the rays of the Sun. And the Sun has here also Leo in a quite dark perspective. So the Sun, that personality deep within us, is shining a light onto us through Capricorn, through the attachments, through the evil characters that we have created, right? Because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is the world, and the world is the number 4, right? Is this squareness, but here are the 3 graces that can help you to overcome it. Now the Sun giving the light to the Moon, your subconscious, and knowing that there are feelings coming up. That's why the Sun is giving the light to the Moon, and we can have a look at it, is now in your sign, and as such I can give you the message, right? That's why I'm using the Moon in Virgo, not because you have that constellation at the day of your birth, but I use it to give me the subconscious information that I can bring to you. So this story here already is quite intense, right? And remember, you are ruled by Mercury, and Mercury in the Tarot is the magician. So overall, see the magic in all, because the 1 is also here in the 15. When we calculate the 15 together, we get the 6. That's self-love, right? And that one and only person that can do that is only you. You are the Caballero de Oros. Is your birthday between the August 13 and September 11, then is he your court card, right? Remember, here he's going to the left, which means when I become the card, I go to the right. You are, as Virgo, the alchemist. You transform energy into something quite healing, and you are the 6th zodiac sign, and as such connected with the 6th house of routine and work. You like to work, right? Rihanna's song, work, 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 works for you, and as such you are always reminded not to work too hard. Back to the last reading, where Capricorn Sun gave you already the light. Beyond the worldly illusions, you will always find your true self. And I see one card coming back, and so we can begin the reading, right? Important to understand that everything is cyclical. That's why I include the last reading and see if there is a recurring card coming back up. But we begin with the Caballero de Oros. He is your physical appearance, right? He's the one that likes to sit on a horse. He likes it fast. And you also like to make money. So we get here the 9 of Wands, which is the Moon in Sagittarius. So you're looking over to this person that's lying here. He looks like a frog. And of course the 9 Wands look like a forest, and this person is walking to the left. Meanwhile, he is lying here in the corner. And it's almost like you kind of looking down to that. It's almost like you're having pity with this person. Maybe this is you, and maybe now you're actually ready to take a step forward into the 10. The 10, of course, then is the 10 Wands, right? And that's the end of a cycle. So the 6 and the 9 is the 15. That's then the Capricorn energy, the attachment to what I have to do for the money, how I make money, right? And so observe that the 15 can again be calculated into a 6, and so the 6 is self-love. Now, what is the Mother Piece Tarot saying? The 8 of Wands is coming to the left. And so here you are, right, slightly in a quite intense moment, because this is electricity. And the card is coming up slightly to the left, right? So she is shooting the arrows down to the corner where you are. And so the 8 and the 9 wands is 17 wands. That's then Aquarius. That's the stardom that we looking for. And when we are a star, right, we have a lot of things to do to make that money, to maintain and keep that kind of money. And so in the 17 and 8 appears then. So in the 17 we calculate that to an 8. The 8 and the 6 is the 14. Temperance is letting you know you gotta be careful, right? Do things in an equilibrium state. And then the 5 is left. The 5 senses from here, Capricorn, the 15 go until the throat chakra, and the 6th sense, right, or the number 6 is always the third eye, is the inner eye that sees all of this. So watch how you make the money, watch how you work, because it can be quite intense, right? Because here Moon in Sagittarius, Mercury in Sagittarius, and Mercury is ruling you. Mercury is, of course, the magician, right? And the magician is the one that sees the magic in how things can then go really fast to the left, right? But we're reading to the right. We're going to your full moon. Remember that. So here is a message of be careful the way you work. 17 wands is a lot, right? But then we come to an 8, and the 8 again is that infinite cycle, right, of like energy comes down, and we want to use the opportunity of that energy. Then the magician. Magician is getting the rainmaker. So what was really interesting in the German reading, I also got the rainmaker. And these are two different decks, right? This one is English, the other one is German. And I have that very rare, that really in the same reading for Virgo, that here the same card is coming up. And so the number 42 is calculated together as 6. So here you are, right? The 4, the stability, the 2, the intuition or the duality creates together the 6. The 6 is you, and the 1 is the 7. The emotional intelligence, which is here in your crown chakra, to know that you have feelings, that you can make it rain, the rain, right? When it rains, it comes from heaven. Beautiful song. I see that you are getting into an emotional intelligence that is helping you now to spread your emotional wings. What is coming from your deck? The rain, the bastos is coming, and that's Aries, the Queen of Wands. And so I'm going to put you up here, right, because you're at the station here. This is Mercury bringing you the information. You can make it rain with one action, the same way Aries takes one action after the other, right? You have here 9 wands and you have 8 wands, right? And so remember, all these wands in the end are 8 wands. And so here we have a 1-1 portal, right? Because she's the first zodiac sign, and the 6 together, that's an 8. So you understand that 8 wands are helping you to take action in a way that you maybe before never thought possible, right? And so there is an Aries that helps you with that. But also remember, here's the 11 and here's the 6th. The 6th of November or the 11th of June could be a date. What is Aries saying? Aries is bringing you. And so here is the Hermit. Aries is holding up the light. So the 9 and the 1 is a 10. The 10 and the 6 is the 16. That's the Tower. That's Mars. Sometimes we gotta let things go that don't work, right? And particularly for an Aries, that's not easy. And now the soul aspect says, yes, but if you know that you have stored the message deep within, then you can really let go. So the Hermit is here to show you that the star is in the lantern, that the star can only be found deep within. and it only takes one action at the time to do so, right? So the 16 turns here into a 7, the 7 and the 1 is the 8. The 8, again, the infinite loop of coming and going, is letting you know deep within you find always the answers. Now, what is the soul aspect of you saying to you? What is your soul wanting to tell you? The Caballero de Copas is coming. And that's Pisces. Pisces is opposite of you. He's going to give you the light, right, for your full moon. Because you will now see that this love that's here in this lantern is important. This love is inside of you, right? It's a state of consciousness. So the 12th zodiac sign turns then into a 3. The 3 and the 9 again is the 12. The 12 turns into a 3. The 3 and the 1 is the 4. The 4 and the 6 is a 10. The 10 and the 1 of the magician is the 11. In the 11 we see the intelligence that we have to understand that this portal is letting you know, do one thing. Know that this star is deep within you. Know that this love is deep within you, and that you can take this path towards yourself, right? Because the Caballero de Copas is facing the Hermit. And so Aries is facing the Hermit, and here the Piscean energy is facing the Hermit. So it's, if I take the Rainmaker away for a moment, we see it like this, right? You are in the center, she's facing this way, and he's facing this way. So it's very interesting, right? When we calculate all this together, we get a 10 and a 12, that's the 22. The 22, that's Uranus, that's the Fool. Be foolish enough to take a step forward in your action, that's the masculine energy, and in your feelings, that's the feminine energy, and in there you create knowledge, a completion, an arrival at yourself, right? And the 22 is the next portal that is here talking to you. Now, what is, of course, Pisces saying? Pisces is bringing you the maturity. And the maturity is the Ace of Pentacles. And that's the pentacle that you are working for. You don't want to work for any other money than money that is holy, money that is mature, money that is ripe. People buy things these days only because they know that the people behind it are doing their best, right, for all involved. And so that's the new money that we need to bring into this world. And so there's a 1, and here's a 1 again. So this is also an 11. But see that in the 11, right, we have the intelligence to understand what's going on. And in the 22, we have the creativity to move it to the next level, right, to play with it. And that's the action that we take. That's the wand that we have. And he holds the light, and you also hold the love deep within you, and then the money will come. If you understand this, all of this, then you have understood really life, right? And so when we calculate all of this together, we get here the 10 and the 22, the 23, the 24. And the 24 is the opposite of the 42, right? So we have, in a way, then a 6-6 portal. And of course, we also have you as the one and only magician, right, that can create all of this. So a 6-6 and a 1. But I also want to know what is coming from the Mother Peace Tarot. So I'm just going to bring these 2 cards here, and the Mother Peace Tarot is bringing you the 7 of Discs, facing to the left down. And facing down to the left says, well, you have worked on all this money. She's pregnant, the melons are ripening, and you see the 7 and the 1. That's 8 pentacles, and these 8 pentacles, right, are connected with the 8 of Wands. So there's an 8-8 portal letting you know, well, you better understand to combine those 17 wands, right? Because 8 wands is easier to understand than 17 wands. Because when we have a single digit number, our brain becomes more calm. The more digits, right, the more we need to figure things out, and the more it becomes reduced, right? That's why simplicity is so highly valued in all spiritual practices. You see the 7 and of course the 8 wands here that are telling you, well, even though you have worked hard, right, and maybe you thought you did the right thing, but always remember that the maturity in understanding how money is really made, that nature is making the money, is implied here, right? That you understand, if you want to make money, work with nature, right? Don't abuse it, and don't abuse no one, neither animals, and really connect to a very high level when you want to make the money. So here the Ace of Pentacles, right, is bringing you that information. And so you see that here the 7 Pentacles as that moment where you recognize, well, you worked hard, but now it's the time to understand that you're moving from the 7 into the 8, into the infinite loop where money keeps coming and going, where you don't need to work that hard anymore. And so the whole message here is that when we see the 6-6 portal, right, we had the 6 here and all the other cards was a 6, and now you have the 7 and the 1 up here, right? Then you have here 6-6 and the 8, the infinite loop, to understand that all of this that we have seen here is bringing you to the amount of money that you need to understand that everything is infinite, right? That even the ancestors, when they do the things in the right way, then the next generation can benefit from it. Otherwise, we can see that even if I now do things really wrong, and in a few hundred years my generation will look back to me, they're going to be like, well, what have you done, right? Why did you do it? And so there's this Victorian age where we did a lot of mistakes, and so I think we need to shed tears onto that. We need to let go, but also we need to make amends, right? We need to really correct things now. Very important. So then comes you, right? And you get here the 10 of Wands. So you had 9 Wands, that's 19. And then again another 8, that's 27. And 27 Wands, that's a lot. That's then, when we calculate it together, a 9. And the 9 again, that's you. The 9 and the 10 is the 19, and in there we get a 10 left. So observe how you now have arrived, right? You had 9, you took this advice, and now you're arriving at 10. And so it's really intense, right? To see this much action, right? Sometimes that's very tiring. That's why he lies here. And you see there is a big transformation with the butterfly. So the 19 wands again is 10, 10 and 8 wands is 18. That's the moon, the number 18, that is letting you know deep in your subconscious, you know you cannot do too much. And 18, then 9 are left. And then in a way you have a 9-9 portal. What is coming from Capricorn? Temperance is coming, and temperance is important here because temperance, here we have here the moon in Sagittarius, then we have Mercury in Sagittarius, and then we have Saturn in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is coming and pushing you. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So when we want to be successful, that's what Capricorn brings to us, right? We sometimes get attached to things. We sometimes come into this square kind of thinking, and in that squareness we lose ourselves. So the 10 and the 4 is the 14, The 14 we understand is then the temperance, right? So the 10 and the 14 is the 24, and the 24 again is that understanding that I need to learn how to do less, right? And the 6 appears when we calculate the 24 together. The self-love appears when I understand how I do things. And the 6 and the 9 is the 15, and that's why Capricorn is here to tell you, watch how you use your 5 senses, because I can also calculate the 14 into a 5, the 5 and the 10 is the 15. And again, of course, Capricorn is here, right, to tell you that. Don't get attached to nothing, right? Liberate yourself. And the 6 appears. The 6 in you, the 9 again is the 15. Capricorn is here, letting you clearly know, hey, you gotta come into self-love. Out of self-love, you do not get attached to anything, right, that you don't want to do. What is Sagittarius wanting to tell you? It's bringing you the 8 of Stones. And we had the 8 of Stones, right, by the Ace of Stones and by the 7 of Stones. So you have an 8-8 portal here. So 2 times the 8. The first 8 was a combination of understand the maturity of the money, understand that things need to ripen, things need to be understood how they function, right? Everything has a cycle. And also here now the 8 is coming as a direct, you are a master in what you're doing, right? This is the sun in Virgo. And so once the sun is in Virgo, that's your month when you have again your new moon. And so you understand here a very beautiful message is coming, right? Because we had here the 15 turned into a 6, the 6 and the 8 is of course then the 14, the 5 is left. So you understand Sagittarius is actually teaching you something. And the 5 and the 9 is the 14 and the 5 is left. The 5 senses through Capricorn that make us attached to this world through what we eat, what we see, what we hear, and what we feel, right? All these emotions, all these feelings are coming to us and sometimes actually control us. What is the Mother Peace Tarot bringing? It's bringing you the 7 of Wands to the left. Now, so now 10 and 7 wands is 17 wands again. You had 9 and 8 wands. 17 wands. 17 and 17, that's 34 wands. 34 calculated together, we get the 7. Have the emotional intelligence to understand that only 7 wands are needed. If you take action in a way that makes you feel satisfied, because this is Mars in Leo. Here we have Saturn in Sagittarius, and Saturn again is the world, right? Is that, oh, you know, things are difficult to work, right? Here Mars in Leo is literally saying, well, I need to have the courage to take myself out of this, right? Out of Saturn. And this is when you have reached mastery. You need to learn how to distribute your energy. And so 34 wands is a lot, but you have 2 times the 17. That's the stardom. If you are a star, and it's really interesting, I had that before. The feeling of a star was like the full moon in Cancer reading, right? There was this, the stardom has within it all the actions that we have to take to get there. And sometimes it's kind of like, well, we get into imprisonment. And so observe, right? And so here the 17 plus the 8 is the 25, plus the 14 is the 39. The 39 is the 12, the 12, the 3 is left. The 3 and the 9 is the 12, the 3 is left. The Empress. An Empress knows what to do. An Empress knows that this is too much, right? And you see the ego is watching him, how he does what he does. And here you have to show to the other priestess that you are strong enough, that you have the courage to be a leader for them, right? That's where they always test you. And you know you can be a leader because you are a master in the way you make money. And so you have 16 pentacles, right, all together, but I leave the 8-8 portal, and that's when the maturity comes in and says, well, you understand now that 8 pentacles and 1 is 9, because in the end you have 9 pentacles, right? 9 and 7 pentacles, of course 16, and then 7 are left. The 7, again, the emotional intelligence to know that I have to watch myself, I have to be vigilant, I have to be someone that others can trust, and the message comes to you, right, that you have a 17-17 portal or an 8-8 with this 8, 3 times the 8. The 8 is always the earth star that is hovering above us, and in there we are learning to really trust this, right? We trust the maturity in learning what money does to us, right? We trust that money is always deep within us, as a result of who I am, and in there you come into a 10, into a completion, and you understand that everything is orchestrated, everything is speaking in its own language to you. So learn to be you, right? Learn to be here the 8 of Pentacles, the 8, and have the maturity. You see there's a circle and here's a circle. She is getting so good, right? She can ask any money for it and people would never question it. It's almost like, right, when you see a price of what something costs, right, sometimes you question, why is it that this amount of money I have to pay to get something? But if you know, right, what you're doing, and if you mature and you know that everything is interconnected and that you actually giving money back to the earth where you taking to make the money, then you are in the cycle, then you are in the completion. And this is the main message that is coming here through to you from Capricorn, because Capricorn is the success, and sometimes we fall off the ladder from that kind of success. We get pushed away from being up here thinking that I can just do about anything, that I can, right, push people and actually abuse them and not realize that that's big mistake, right? Because when we see someone lying here, we need to help them. And so I hope you understand that kind of message. So I hope I see you in the next reading. That's when we got the sun in Aquarius. The 17 came through the 17 once, twice the 17, right? So Aquarius is already talking. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.